Hey guys, Vagandochi here. So today I'm going to be doing a bit of a drawing tutorial. This tutorial is going to be basic shading. I'm going to be showing you some methods that I have for shading with color, some shading with different pencils and all that stuff. So first off, you're going to need two pieces of paper. One paper is going to be your shade and mix, and one is going to be your drawing paper. So let's first off get our pencil sharp enough, or with a long enough, I'm just going to call it a lead. So you can see that. Now what we're going to want to do is over here, we're going to take this, we're going to very lightly, just going to try to shave a little bit of this off for shading. Now there are two methods for shading. This is going to be your paintbrush shading, and paintbrush shading would be more for like when you want to do with somewhat of a fine edge, but you want to still be able to feather it, and you want to have it like it's a bit more controllable, and it's more for when you have an edge, like a place where there is a shadow and then there is no shadow, instead of where you have kind of like a curve in where like a gradient in the shadows. So you're going to want to take, depending on what type of shadow you're doing, and also if you're using, now depending on what pencil you're using, this pencil is really good. It shades up to really fine. Like when I shave off little pieces, it shaves to really fine little pieces of the powder. But if you're doing it with crappier pencil, I'm not going to say crappier, but different type of pencil, some will not work as well. This one's working pretty well. Let me find one that doesn't, so I can show you what I mean by here. Like these pencils, like they're not professional artist pencils or anything, but if you try to shave off the end of them, will kind of have little parts where they're a bit thicker than others, and it's kind of uneven. You're going to want to use a thicker brush, a brush, like you want a brush that has a stiff end if you're going to use those, but right now I'm going to be showing you kind of more shading. And so let's say I want to do a nice sharp edge. And just keep in mind, the shading will not be very, you'll have to be patient for when you're shading. So you want to take not too much, but not too little. You want to shade your edge with this. So here you go. Take your edge, and then you're going to kind of go away when you started to run out. I'm just going to call it running out because you don't have as much shade on your tip. Which thumb shading is, you just kind of take a little bit on your thumb, or my preferred way of thumb shading would be probably get a normal pencil and then just kind of go like that, so you have a nice thick area of pencil, and you can rub your thumb in there and be able to get a nice shade. But sometimes it doesn't look perfect, so it depends on what type of drawing you're doing. You'll learn to use these different types of shading to advantage. And I'm gonna try to draw like a sphere. So let's start off with simple circle, and honestly, first shape doesn't really matter. You can, as long as you draw the lines lightly, first shape can be repaired. Actually having the fixing lines actually does make it look a bit better. So there we go. Let's kind of fix up that and that. So now what we're going to do is we're gonna choose our light source. I'm gonna just choose with that. Look up here. Let me just make sure that's a bit easier for you guys to see. Let me adjust my focus so that it's a bit more towards this paper. So now what we're going to want to do is, because the light source is hitting from here, have it a lot lighter over here. And sometimes you're going to want to have an actual like reflection spot where it goes, it's a sharp increase and decrease, whatever. So we're going to take some here. And thumb shading can also be done with, if you have just a line that you're gonna want, you can have thin lines drawn out. Like if you want to make them look a bit closer together, you can just move back and forth on them. Now this will this will almost turn them white, not quite, but it'll almost be like you're erasing them, but you're actually just blending them together. So they'll be less noticeable. So you might have to do a few layers of that. So you can add in your pencil shading. Maybe add in like a line over here to signify a little shiny spot. Then you can rub it together. And also another thing, pencil or brush shading would be useful for. I'm coming up with these terms by myself. Don't tell me, or actually do tell me if there is a proper term for these terms I'm making up. So you're gonna want to take your brush. You can use it to kind of fix up light spots. If you want to make it a bit, you want to fix the gradient of an already shaded area, you can use the brush shading for a bit more accurate and a bit slower and, better looking, but it also takes more time, obviously. So here we're going to choose our little area of, here we go, that's going to be the floor, and that's going to be our line. Now we can erase this now that we have that. As long as you can memorize where that line is, you can erase it because you have it visualized. You don't need it anymore. You can erase that line right there. And now you just have this line. Move all this stuff down because I don't want it to get in my way. So we're going to take a little bit of this and see. So circle. It's going to have a. You're going to have it kind of circularize. I don't know what words would be. You're going to have your shadow. And remember, the light spot, you don't want it to be that exact light spot. You want it to be a bit larger, so you can feather the edges. Feather the edges with your paintbrush. But you want also there to be a sharp contrast. So we're going to shade in, mostly, actually, try to shade in, not touching the edge. I'm going to do a little bit of thumb shade. I'm actually going to take some black all the way from there. So we'll get more of a quick shade. This is good for shadows if you have like a shadow that an object is producing and not a shadow that is on that same object. I mean, they're the same thing, but you know what I mean. So then we can kind of outline this just right here where the shadow is. Can outline that. So we have a nice sharp shadow. And now, obviously, this isn't the most perfect shadow I've ever done. So we're also going to have shadow underneath. And I want to make this nice and flat, and we're going to blend that all together. Also, using the eraser is a good tactic for pronouncing lines, or edges, I mean, not lines. If you want to pronounce an edge a bit better, you can use the eraser to make more of a contrast between. And so we have our light point right here. So we're going to have that kind of curve around a little bit. Have a kind of curve around. I'm going to pick up a bit more shade or graphite mix. I don't know. I don't even know what color pencils are really made of, so I'm not gonna say exactly what I'm not gonna say graphite, but my little powder over here, I'm gonna shade it out. introduce, kind of put our little edge right there, kind of a little bit. If you want it to be more realistic, let me, like I said earlier, eraser really does help pronounce the, it's a really good tool for actually making things look better. So we can erase that right there. We want to make it look even better. Let's just make that a bit more circular. And then we can feather the edges, but I want to have a nice circular object to feather instead of a weird lips. So now we can feather the, does that look right? I might want to actually bring that down a bit and have that right there. So feather the edges. This will make it look a bit more realistic because, the sun's not just one point. It is a large sphere. So now let's do a bit of ray tracing. So we're going to find that that probably bounce out around here. So let's find that we have a nice glare in this area. And we might also get like a nice, glare over to here too. So as you can see, let's make sure we have a nice erased area. I'm gonna try to shade around. I want it to be darker everywhere else, just so we have a nice pronounced reflection. Now, it's not perfect, but this is the basic shading. You're not going to want to have it, you're not going to have it perfect. And also, this is just a shading tutorial. I'm not actually drawing anything of use. Please ignore how crappy this circle or sphere is, but I'm kind of showing you more what are the methods for shading and how you might use them and all that stuff. So anyways, hopefully these are useful. Hopefully you learned something from them. Yeah, anyways, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe for more awesome content. Bye!